Today is the first video in my 6-week long series called Reading the Oscars. First up, Train Dreams. The first thing I want to say is that the book is, like, in my opinion, a perfect novella because it uses every single word so intentionally. And even though it's short, it's able to fit so much into it that I actually am so happy with the length that it is. And the writing in it is phenomenal. The craft in that book is incredible. And I feel very similarly about the movie. Again, the craft in the movie is phenomenal. The number one difference that I sort of felt about the book and the movie is while the movie positions itself to be more of a story about grief, the book does not. While in the movie, Robert's main motivator is the death of his wife and child, in the book, it's not necessarily the case. It does impact him, but it impacts him in a vastly different way. And because the book talks so much in these vignettes and talks about other traumatic instances that are happening to him, the death of his wife and child are not quite as central to the story as they are in the movie. In the book, I think I see him way more flawed than he is in the movie, because in the movie, I think he is built up to be sort of like an upstanding guy. While a lot of the differences I actually liked better in the movie, the one thing that I liked better in the book is that the book has more of an emphasis on this, like, supernatural aspect going on. In the book, there are visions of his dead wife, and there's this, the wolf girl. In the book, it's like heavily implied that this wolf girl could be Robert's child, or it's sort of left up in true interpretation. And in the movie, there's also an instance where this girl comes back and, Robert sees her. And I think it's really interesting because in the book, I felt very strongly like it was Robert's child, but in the movie, I didn't feel that way at all. One thing about the supernatural thing, though, is that I actually feel like it's better that the movie didn't go in that direction, not because I didn't like it, but I think it would have involved too much more plot going into the movie, and I think the movie was a very appropriate length for what it was. Overall, I do think I liked the movie more. I will say I watched the movie first, and I do think that the order in which you watch and read something does have something to do with what you enjoy more. I liked the emphasis on grief, and I think that the movie did a really good job of doing that. And I also understand that the book was not trying to do that. It does sort of feel like comparing apples to oranges in some ways. But I think the main difference for me is that the catharsis moment in the movie felt very earned. Whereas I think if there was a catharsis moment in the book wouldn't feel the way that it does. I don't think the Robert in the book would have needed the catharsis moment that the Robert in the movie did. Once again, with most adaptations, it's not a necessarily super faithful adaptation, and I think that's okay. I do think they're very different. On screen, it's going to be different anyway, but I do think a lot of the heart of the book was changed. But I don't think I was prepared for how much different that they were going to be.